Well, dude, I thank you for hanging out today. We're gonna talk today, dude, because we're on a mission, dude, to help. Well, if I asked you, right, what mission are we on collectively right now? I think you're on a personal mission.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think you're seeing collectively what the team mission is. What would that be if I asked you that?
If I had to put it into one statement, it'd be pay it forward. If I had to just simplify it that much. But I think the main goal is probably, one, help as many families as possible, and then two, bring as many people with us on the other side of that in terms of, like, I don't know, agents, just recruiting, just bring as many people with us and helping them that way. That was kind of like my situation.
Right.
Was you kind of brought me onto this, and then, you know, my personal mission was to, you know, help a lot of families, but, you know, make a lot of money on the side doing that.
Right.
So collectively is pay it forward, I think, because like I tell my friends about it, and it's really just like, why wouldn't I tell them about it? Because it's been so much help to me and so easy to transition into it. I was like, well, I might as well pay it forward. And that's just how I describe it to everybody, really.
Well, dude, that's an interesting take on it, because I see it the same way. We're paying it forward.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking at folks who maybe just don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, they've given their heart to something for so long. And then you're in a spot to where it's like, okay, well, I want to be great. I am great, but what else am I going to be great at?
Right.
And we're on a mission, dude, to pay it forward, because for me, when I was 23, I didn't know what was next. And then Sean came into my life and said, hey, here's this thing. Actually, my buddy Marcus, right?
Yeah.
Here's this thing. And that was really, I went from this whole, like, I want to, you know, let's hire the world and help everybody, right? To going, can I just start helping people find a thing?
Yeah.
Just a thing. Just like, because I know, like, you had a thing already, right? Your thing
Sort of.
What was your thing?
It was e-commerce.
No, your thing was ball.
Oh, ball. Oh, I thought you meant like in between that.
No,
okay,
that was you going, you know what, I'm gonna mess around a little bit, but your thing was baseball, right?
Absolutely. It's
like
all I
that,
did.
That was all you did,
That's
right?
all I did. Yeah.
And when I say that thing, like that thing that you had or what you were doing, right? And I say, now that you're doing this, do you see the parallels in that commitment and why I was creeping up in your DMs looking like, yo, what the hell is this guy? Financial services, dude. Like, doesn't even know my major, or like, you know what I mean? Like, what is he talking about? You know what I mean? So do you see why these two worlds, not even just financial services, just sales, the way we go about it, because there's other groups that do other sales deals and things like that. I think on a personal level for me, do you get why? And Sean as well, because he played ball in college. Like, I spoke the language. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this mission to help people find something. You said transition was easy. Well, somebody may hear easy as like, you don't work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're like, well, Kyler said it was easy. Well, I think this thing is easy too.
Yeah.
But when I started this, it was a different type of work for me. Because playing baseball, people would look at it and be like, dude, that seems easy, right? And they don't know the work that goes into.
Right.
But it's easy for you because you've been doing it, right? You just do it and you wake up and you do your thing. So why do you say that transition's easy, but also clarify that for us of what because I understand what you're saying, because the reason you say it's easy is the reason I reached out to you.
Right.
That's why, you know, but what are some of those things that maybe aren't so easy in that transition?
Things that aren't so easy? Well, things that made it easy were just the resources. Like YouTube, I watched unlimited YouTube.
Okay.
So that was what made it super easy. But things that aren't
and that gave
so
you
easy,
confidence?
It kind of just gave me an idea of what I need to do.
Okay.
Because when you pick up the phone for the first time, you're kind of like, well, what do I do? But if you watch a couple of YouTube videos, you learn really fast that the phone script is all the same, pretty much for the most part. It's all just coming back to the same stuff.
Right.
But the things that made it not so easy, well, I'm used to working a lot because of baseball, but it wasn't like waking up at 7:30 and then dialing to someone you don't know.
Right.
So that was what kind of made it not easy, was kind of getting adjusted to waking up and this is what I need to do, and not necessarily I don't really want to do it.
Right.
Because who wants to wake up, roll out of bed, sit at your desk, and then dial someone you don't know, maybe get hung up on a few times. But other than that, it's really, for me at least, it was just the numbers. And the numbers are talked about. You talk about numbers a lot. Everyone really talks about numbers. If you put in the numbers, you're just going to get infinitely better super fast.
And to correlate that to ball is just, it's at bats. You know, you get a ton of at bats, dude. You're gonna eventually figure it out.
Yeah.
There's some fools with some funky swings, right? And you're like, how's he hit the
Terrible.
ball? Like, dude, he just figured out his swing.
Yeah.
Does that make
Just
sense?
repetition.
And dude, and
all it is.
and the point of contact is all the same.
Mm-hmm.
This guy starts here. This guy's over here. This guy's wiggling, dude. I used to like be like crazy closed off. Like the pitcher almost seen my back. I was
Yeah.
left-handed. Like, but they changed that up. They're like, dude, you'll never be able to catch up
I was
to
the
anything
opposite.
over 85 miles per hour. I was like, yeah, you're right. Because when I got to college, they started blowing my doors. I was like, oh yeah, it works at 75, but not at 85. But that's just that goes to, so like as you're growing and as you level up, you got to change different things.
Yeah.
You know, you have to change different things. Now, go into expectations into this, and I know we're talking transition,
Yeah.
but expectations coming in, how did you set what were your expectations? How were they, you know what I mean, of the work that was expected?
Yeah.
Okay. And let's just start there.
Okay. Of the work that I expected.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, when I first started, I had no idea.
Okay.
Because you kind of reached out to me and I was like, well, I don't even know what this is all about. And then after watching those YouTube videos, like I was talking about, I kind of started to understand that the phone is the most part of the work. And then the in-home is kind of the easy part.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're just talking about, you know, hundreds of dials a day. At first, it seems really daunting, but once you check out like phone burner and all that kind of stuff, it's less than you think it would be if you were working like a normal job, like a 9 to 5.
Right.
But in terms of expectations of work, I didn't really have that many expectations going into it, but I knew that I was willing to put in what it took because, like, you know, Jacob, I saw what Jacob was doing. He's 20 years old, and I'm like, well, whatever work it's going to take,
There you go.
I'm going to do it.
And this is a point of, if you're an athlete and you're watching this, this is why we're talking. See, there was not one time when you're at Davis that you asked your coach, hey, coach, how many hours? Like, even we know there's rules, right? There's NCAA rules.
Yeah.
But did we ever ask, how many hours do we have to work this week in order to get to the big leagues? Like,
No,
dude. Like, just because there was scheduled practices doesn't mean you couldn't go to the cages in between classes, before weights, after. Like,
it's expected. You have to.
There's just things that you do.
Yep.
So if you're an athlete watching this, you're like, well, why are they? Because those are things that are just ingrained in you.
Yeah.
A lot of us just go to work and we don't have an expectation. So that was a trick question. Okay. We don't have an expectation of how much am I going to work? It's whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this thing works for athletes, is because they don't look at the clock. They don't look at the scoreboard. It's just like, dude, can we just keep going?
Mm-hmm.
Can we just keep going, and I'll keep practicing and keep showing up. And eventually you start getting good at it. And you get good at this really fast when you put in the work. When you don't put in the work, you're like, damn, what's going on? You know, and most of the time at jobs, right, you start a job and it takes like, I don't know, 2 weeks to get paid, right? And you start this, there's a lot of emotion that you take away out of your job because you're like, dude, in 2 weeks I'm gonna get paid anyways. So I may suck at this day 2, I may suck at this day 3,
Right.
but all I gotta do is just keep showing up and I'm gonna get paid in 14 days.
Totally.
So you have this confidence about this job waiting 2 weeks. Talk to us about that transition, okay, from, well, you didn't have the job thought process, but this whole of like, hey, I understand that I'm going to put in work, and I get that the insurance companies can pay me daily after I write a policy. I get that. But you got your first deposit from the time you hit your first day on the phone till deposit was how long?
my first deposit, I think my first week I didn't sell anything.
Okay.
But after that, it was my first deposit hit a couple days after first sale.
Call it 10 days in.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's accurate. No, that's very accurate. 10 days.
Okay. About 10 days in.
Yeah.
But during that 10 days,
Mm-hmm.
talk to us about some of these thoughts, maybe feelings that you had of, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because let's be real, because
No,
this is
does.
this is the perspective that we got to give the folks. Be like, dude, most folks wait 10 days, and we're talking 10 days for you to get paid. How much was that first paycheck?
Gosh, it was about
$100.
Yeah.
10 days of work.
It was a super small premium.
Okay.
Too. It was a super cheap premium.
You know, so but it's just like perspective though. But if you knew 100% guaranteed that you were going to get paid 10 days in, would any of those emotions you had prior to date before that be valid? You wouldn't have had it, right?
It's there. It's kind of like that same thing with the work, with
Correct.
the job. It's like it's going to be there. But
So how do we talk? How do we get, like, what were some of those things that you were thinking and doubting or whatever the case may be?
Yeah. So I mean, when you go a week and you kind of see, like, I was seeing a bunch of families because we had some good leads going right there. I had like 18 booked in like a weekend, and that was one of my higher numbers. But when you see that many people, and a couple no-shows, of course, but when you see that many people and you get nothing out of it, you feel, you know that you're new and that you're new to this and all that, but it is a little bit frustrating because you're like, well, I'm doing this. What do I need to do? And when I first started, there was no structure, so I wouldn't even really tell them how it's going to go. I would just pull up, hey, this is what you can get. This is the price. Let's rock it. That's almost what I did. Like, basically, like my first appointment, I walked in, I knocked on the door, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. But I was doing the Americo e-app for the very first time as the appointment was going on. So I don't even know the next question. I'm just like, well, I hope nothing comes up that I don't know, because this is my first time doing it, and I'm sitting with a lady named Sherry, and I'm sitting there doing it, and she knows probably just as much as I do about that. Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of emotions, it was kind of a roller coaster, because you walk up all adrenaline pumped to the door, like I'm about to do this right now, and they open the door and you're a bit nervous. And then I feel like once I met the actual clients, I didn't get nervous, because you sit down with them, they're a totally normal person, just like everybody else. They're not like how they are on the phone. They're always super nice, super polite. You want a glass of water? You want a Coke? Like, no, thank you, but I appreciate that. But super nice people, and especially when you help them and you protect them, they're always super grateful, and like, because you did the best you could for them, basically provide what they're looking for. And it took me about those 10 days to get my first sale, but after that, that's when it kind of started rolling in a little bit. And then it became like, you walk into the house and I'm going to close this because that's what I'm here to do. They asked for my help. They invited me to where their kids sleep, and this is what I'm here for. And it becomes a lot more normal after that.
And it's like in ball, man, like when you first got to do your freshman year, dude.
Yeah.
Jeez. Think about that.
I was not well.
Think about the fall.
Yeah.
If you're like, I had a killer fall as a freshman, then thumbs up for you, dude. But majority of us did not.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we had this ego about us coming in. First off, we had something to prove. Okay. We had something to prove. That ego did not do us well, because then we got humbled really quick, because there was guys that were like, they had 3-4 years of testosterone on us, right? Fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very.
And like, so we got humbled, and we realized, dude, I just got to play my game. I got to play my game. And then a month into the fall, it hits October, November. You're like, dude, now I found my groove, dude. But it's that first couple weeks, 3 weeks that you may be doing too much. Your expectations does it make sense? Yeah. Just, hey, it's all good, dude. They've been doing this. This is their 4th fall, dude. It's their 4th fall. And with COVID, this is their 5th. Makes sense? Yeah. It's their 5th fall, dude. It's your first. Relax. And I think those things, but you can think back to those things and those scenarios that's going to help guys and girls like us from that cloth.
Yeah.
To go, how did I respond to this before? Because there's been a time to where I was going to be great at something that when I started, I was not. And that's what this thing is about. Is like, nobody's like, this is not their first coming to greatness.
Yeah.
This isn't your first go. You know what this feels like. I think, and you text me after that. You know what I mean? You were like, What'd you say? I don't even want to say it. You text
After my first sale.
after your first sale. You remember what you said?
Oh, dude, it was definitely along the lines of "Let's go" in all caps.
All caps. You said, "I remember that euphoric feeling you talked about."
Yeah,
What was that feeling?
it felt like I hit a home run because first off, after going a whole week, nothing, like 20 appointments probably, maybe 15 or so, but it was that feeling of like, that kind of that delayed gratification moment where you kind of been trying for like almost like if you're going for a girl and you finally get to go take her on a date like after so long of trying.
All right.
It was kind of similar because I had so many appointments, not so many, but a good amount of appointments.
Relative to zero before?
Yes, relative to my experience.
Yeah.
I had, a good amount of appointments and I was like, dude, this is rough for me right now. And then I finally get one where it's like, this is going well. Everything's going good. The application's going. About to get banking and stuff, get it all done. And once it was like done, it just hit where I was like, just that, like, let's go. Closed it. Felt insane. Felt like a home run.
And that feeling of hope of like, this works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in this level of responsibility of, it's kind of like on ball too, man. Like I knew people were going to the big leagues. I knew people were getting drafted. I knew people were going D1. So I was just like, what's the difference, dude? They put their pants on one leg at a time like me. You know what I mean? So it's like, and it doesn't mean that like everybody has their level, like where they're going to get to, right? But in business, I promise you, there's no physical aspect about it.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, there's zero. I'm telling you, there's things that I could have worked as hard as I want to work, dude. There's no way I was ever going to run a 6'3". Just wasn't. Like it just wasn't going to happen. I just, there's nothing I can do about the tendonitis in my elbow, dude. It was like only going to get worse. It was just like, you know what I mean? It was like, dude, there was things there that just wasn't going to help. Cancer. What was I going to do about that? But none of those things that I just listed is ever going to inhibit me from doing this.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
None of them is a plus. None of it. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a level playing field here. And to see guys like you come in here and put that work in that it takes, because it's not easy. Everybody can do it. No, they can't. Just like everybody can't get a Division I scholarship. Just like everybody, like there was guys who started your freshman year, they didn't finish. Makes sense. And now with the portal, I'm sorry guys, it's a different world now. You guys just cry and want to change schools, but it wasn't like that for us. Okay, you had to deal with stuff. Makes sense. It was just like no, it's like, oh my god, my coach didn't play me, so I'm. Yeah, that's what happens, dude. You get put on the bench. All right, so if that's you and you're like, I'm part of the portal, this probably ain't gonna work for me. I'm just joking with you. Let's talk. But if that's you, if that's why you left, well, come on, man. Have some respect for yourself. But because there's things in life, and the reason I say that, Kyler, is because in life, there's gonna be things that you don't like. There's gonna be things that you but you can't just always change things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you gotta be the change. Sometimes you gotta make it change from inside. Versus going, okay, well, they're going to be screwed up. Let me go over here, So I can go on for days with that because I chose to, like, we were at another company before we started this company. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of things at that company that were, I guess, not right, And when it's the first thing that you learn, you're kind of like, well, this is what I learned. It's like, how's this not legit, So we dealt with it for a little bit, and there was companies. Sean was looking around, and we were loyal. And then the guy started personally messing with us, and that's when things went left for us. And we were like, you know what? Like we gotta do this. It wasn't because of how we felt. Does that make sense? It was genuinely, dude, this is not gonna work out. It wasn't an emotional thing. It was like, no, dude, that. Actually wrong and unethical, and that makes sense. So gives us reason. That's how we ended up with Family First Life. But if it was because of the way he made us feel, dude, we wouldn't have been there like 2 days. You know what I mean? Because it was like, dude, this is not our friend. Like we understand that, right? Yeah, got it. But it's business. Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's I think sometimes you have coaches, you have people, you have teammates that, dude, when you're on the field, you guys ball out, but off the field, dude, we don't even talk. Why? Because, dude, we have a mission on the field, and off the field, we don't. And so sales, did you think that you were doing some e-commerce before?
Yeah.
But in your mind, was that sales to you?
No.
It was not.
Not at all.
Okay. Did you see yourself getting into sales?
No.
No.
No, I didn't.
Okay. You saw the opportunity, but what about it made you go, okay, maybe sales is it?
I knew that sales was a skill that I probably should try and acquire.
Because what's your degree in?
Economics and a minor in education.
Okay. Very qualified to go get a job
Yeah.
somewhere, right? Fair to say, like if you're like, dude, put a nice resume up, go apply, clean yourself up. Dude, you go land a job.
Yeah.
Why not?
For sure. So first off, I pursued e-commerce because I wanted to not do a 9 to 5. So that's why I started e-commerce, and I made some money doing it.
Were there any of your peers like that? Where like
not really.
they weren't. They were looking for the job, right?
Yeah, most people just go right into the job. But I knew that I didn't want a 9 to 5, and I knew that I didn't want capped income, and I knew that that wasn't the direction I wanted to go. And since kind of when you messaged me, I was like, this kind of weirdly aligns with a lot of things that I want to do. And I also want to get that sales skill. Whatever happens with this, I kind of want to have some sales experience, because if this doesn't work out, then I have a little bit of an idea.
Right.
And then the opportunity kind of presented itself, kind of just came out of nowhere. But it aligned with so many things that I wanted to do already, to where I was like, well, let's just try it.
Yeah.
Why not? You're not doing anything else. It was an online store I was running. Like it took like some maintenance whenever I wanted to. But there was really not much to it.
And I remember the number one question you had. A lot of people have a ton of like different questions or whatnot. And I was like, dude, you got any? He's like, no, dude, I just have like these leads. Like, where do they come from?
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, the internet.
That was my only
They're like,
question.
they come from the internet and Facebook and stuff. And like, dude, like, we don't have to do the marketing or anything.
Yep.
Nope. We just buy them. All right, cool. You got any other questions? Nah, dude, I'm pretty much good. Like, that's it. I'm like,
Yeah.
That's it? No, that's it. Like,
That's exactly how it
like
went.
that's exactly how our conversation went.
Because
Honestly,
honestly,
why was the lead gen and things like that? Why was that very important to you?
Because I know how hard advertising can be after doing e-commerce and throwing ads online. That, and generating a lead must be not. I just knew that getting information in from people or bringing them into something is already a whole other story. So I was like, okay, if I have to generate my own leads and pay for my own leads that I'm generating as well, I don't know if I'm too interested, because I've been down that road of trying to bring in people.
Right.
And that's a whole other story in itself. But once you told me, no, these are all little leads that they fill out and we just buy them, I was like, oh.
Huge.
Okay.
Dude, I didn't have the understanding of leads as you when I started, but that was the hook for me.
Yeah.
Like, that was the hook. It wasn't commission and all this type of stuff. It was, y'all got people who actually want what you're selling.
Yeah.
Whew. And y'all wouldn't like give those to us if they didn't work, because we got to sell insurance in order for the company to stay in business. I was never confused by that.
Mm-hmm.
I was never confused. I was like, if some people go, well, these leads, do they make money on leads? I was like, dude, do you understand lead companies make money on leads? We're not a lead company. We're an insurance marketing organization.
Mm-hmm.
The only way we make money is when insurance is sold.
Yep.
So any lead that we put out there doesn't mean they're the best. And I never claim we have the best leads. All right? I don't think anybody has the best leads. But what qualifies as the best leads for me, Kyler, is the most leads.
Yeah.
Whoever has access to the most leads is the best. And there's nobody who has more access to leads than us.
Yeah.
You can go in our CRM and see hundreds of thousands of leads in a state, let alone a few counties. So it's the availability there with leads was everything for me. Knowing what you know now, Kyler.
Yeah.
Who is this for? Okay, so it'd be like, hey, you got to be this, or you got to be open to this, or this, like whatever the case may be. Is it a person who wakes up early? Is it a person who sleeps in? Is it a person who, whatever the case may be, who is this the right opportunity for?
Yeah, so the right person, I'll kind of say it the way that I pitched it to Carson.
Okay.
Not really pitched it, but just told him about it. It's not easy. The first thing I said is it's not easy. And you're going to get hung up on. People are going to yell at you a little bit. Usually not, but you will get it a little bit. But it's a lot of dialing, okay? So that's what it's going to be. You're going to be on the phone a lot. That's where all your business is going to come from. So it's not super easy, but once you get to the in-home, it is super easy. And it's hard work. And if you want to be this kind of entrepreneurial type figure, it's going to take a lot of work, especially at the beginning, because I think that the learning curve is kind of steep at the start, but like once you get over that initial hump, it's all pretty level from there. So like the start is hard. The start is pretty hard. And
What part?
honestly, just still kind of goes back to the phones, and then maybe just a little bit of the knowledge, because you don't like going into this. I didn't know anything about insurance at all, not a droplet of knowledge about it. So going into a home and trying to sell someone insurance, you're a bit apprehensive because what if they have questions and
Right.
you don't know the answers to those questions. But within probably 10, 15 appointments, I already had a grasp of really what was going on in product knowledge. And I honestly didn't even really study products too much.
Right.
It was just kind of like, okay, this is what each one does. And that's all I really have to know.
And it's not really even product. It's more underwriting.
Yeah.
It's like the product is term life, whole life. Done.
Yeah.
Now, if they have COPD or emphysema or this, that, or the other, that's where the knowledge comes in.
Yeah.
Expectations. You had a scholarship to UC Davis. What were the expectations of you receiving that scholarship?
I mean, the expectations for me was that I was going to play shortstop, but for them it was
yeah.
For them it was, you're going to work hard day in and day out. If you want to start as a freshman, you're going to have to work hard. That's it. Bottom line, you have to earn the spot.
Right.
And I actually ended up not earning the spot, just as a side note. But it's just about the hard work and putting in the time.
On and off the field, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So give us those things. So on the field, you had to work hard. Off the field, what were some of those responsibilities?
Off the field, it's if you're not in the cages at least once or twice a day besides practice, you're not going to be anywhere near in a position to start on the field.
Right.
That's just how it is. At any program, that's just how it's going to be. Taking ground balls, they want the guy who makes the routine plays. If you don't make the routine plays, you're not putting in the work to make those routine plays. It's just not going to happen. There's just a lot of work, outside of it that, and then at night, watching your swings, filming your swings, watching some video of some pros, so.
How does that transition into this? Because we got into a partnership, right?
Yeah.
Of, hey, here's what I will do.
Yeah.
And here's what I expect from you as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does that translate into business, that scholarship type of role? All right.
Yeah. So it's extremely parallel in almost every way. Because like I said about YouTube, I was watching YouTube. Basically, it's kind of like film training. With baseball, I'll watch a pro swing. I'll watch, Matt Olson swing or something like that. It's the same thing. I'll watch Paul McLean, explain the 7 steps of final expense 20 times because I'd missed something last time, and I want to get it right. And, I watched, I don't know how many people on there, but it's the same thing. It's film training. And then just, in the morning, dial on the phone, it's just reps, getting the reps in. And then, we usually do dial day Monday, Thursday, but pretty much every day I'm dialing.
Right.
At some point.
Well, you had weights to go to, right?
Yeah.
Could you go like, hey, coach, I'm going to just lift weights on my own?
There had to be something really, like, I couldn't go for a reason.
It had to be pretty.
It had to be like, what's the reason for not going with the team?
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Correlate that to this in this business.
Yeah. Dial days trainings. If you're not on dial days, like when I started, I was muted on dial days a lot. And I was like, but then I started coming to the office and then kind of doing those basically live dials with you right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, like kind of clicked for a second, like, dang. So now I'm never muted on live dials. Cause it's like, if I stay muted and no one can hear me, I'm never going to get better.
I can't get better.
I'm never going to get better. And I'm never going to, write what I want to write because they're not going to hear me in what's going on in the conversation or even just my side of the conversation of how I sound, tonality, pace, all of that kind of stuff. And if I didn't if I stayed muted, I would probably be where I was at like a week or two ago.
Okay. So we expect, we're going to help you out with leads. Okay. Davis says, hey, we're going to give you a scholarship, whatever school you're at. If you're big league, they gave you a signing bonus or whatever. Or you can get cut,
Yeah.
And the same thing here. It's like, dude, like we'll cut you. Like it'd be like, dude, it's not working out. Like what
Yeah.
happened? Dude, it took you 3 weeks to get a license. You never show up to live dials. And where are my leads at? You don't get leads. Why? Because you're not on live dials. You don't go to the office. Why not? Well, the office is, an hour away from me. Okay. Okay. What does that mean? How far is the office from you?
It depends what time you leave, but I left at like 6 this morning. It took like an hour 20.
Hour 20 minutes. Okay. Each way. Now some people go, well, dude, isn't gas expensive? Well, there's some things I can't learn via Zoom. There's things I can't do
Definitely.
that way. Like, and
For sure.
access to people, dude, it's massive. So we do things the same way you sacrificed in ball. Don't stop sacrificing here. Like, I went to a combine at Stanford when I was, I don't know, I'm sorry, area code games. Combine in Stanford was a little close. It was a stretch, but it wasn't too bad. But I was going into my senior year. We had to go down to USC to try out, right?
Yep.
My mom had to work. So she ended up getting me a plane ticket. I couldn't drive down there, so she got me a plane ticket down there, right? I remember it was like right when they started charging for like bags and stuff. And like we had to figure out how to get money. Like, dude, I'm telling you, there's so much we had to do. It wasn't just me, my mom, everybody, for me to get down to USC. I remember my uncle came to pick me up from Riverside. So we went from Riverside to LAX to take me to USC for this tryout tryout.
Yeah.
Didn't even know if I was going to make
You
the
don't
team.
even know if you're going to make it.
Didn't even know I was going to make the team. And you know when I made the team, what was guaranteed? Nothing. Didn't mean I was going to get a scholarship. Didn't mean I was going to get drafted. Didn't mean any of that. Or we could, as a family, could have just been like, no big deal. Let's just play it safe. I understand that you don't do things. You didn't do that. You didn't act like that in your previous sport. You sacrificed. You did things that were uncomfortable. Your parents drove you, 2 hours to a damn practice, and they sat there and did nothing with you. That's the sacrifice that, like, a lot of us, I can look back to up until I was 22, a lot of the sacrifice that was being made was I was excited about whatever we were doing, but the sacrifice was really my parents. And then the sacrifice was sometimes was me having to say no, because I did have friends who didn't play sports, and they wanted to go out on Friday nights. Well, I had to say no because I had a game on Saturday.
Yeah, all the time.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
all the time.
And those are the things that when you get into business, don't stop being different. Don't conform. Don't start going, well, now that I'm not playing, now I can be like the boys. Don't do that. Don't do that, okay? Because they're not doing the same thing as you. Unless they're 1099, unless they're commission-based sales, independent, building their own business, it's going to be hard for them to understand.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because they're going to go, well, dude, what do you mean? Like, are they making you do that? No, nobody makes me do anything. I choose to do that. Right. Somebody may have asked you, they make you drive down there to San Diego? Has anybody said that to you? Friends?
I think my dad actually did.
What was your response?
I was like, no, I have to. Like, I need to. Especially after the first time I came down and I learned a lot. I was like, no, I have to go do this. And also when I come dial here, I feel more locked in. You're at an office, you're at a desk, and it's a bit more like work. And you're like, okay, let's do it.
There's something about getting up and getting ready.
Yeah.
Something about it.
Yeah.
Dude, I had an office. My first office was like 300 square feet. I paid like $200 a month. It was in Raleigh, North Carolina. Dude, it was small.
Yeah.
Dude, but it was purely just so that I could get up and have somewhere to go.
Environment.
That was it.
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't looking for this work from home gig. I that wasn't, you know what I mean? I was just looking for something to, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know if I was looking for work from home. I don't know if I was in the field. I don't know what. I was looking for fun. I wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I wanted to have fun doing something. I want something challenging. What is the result for you in this business? What are you doing it for? Like, what do you see this turning into, and income wise and things like that?
Well, at first, I had no idea how I was going to do, so I wasn't too sure. But actually, once you actually start selling, you start to realize that you're actually really helping a lot of people, because a lot of people live month to month, check to check. Almost all of the people I meet with do. And, you know, you kind of point out to them like, hey, if Michael, something happens to Michael, you know, Jerry, you're not going to be doing too well. And, you know, they don't really like to think about it, but you bring it to their attention and you find out that you are seriously, seriously helping a lot of people, and you'll feel it. And I at first I thought I was more of a sales guy, honestly, when I first started, because you just feel like you're pitching somebody something. And then once you kind of get into it, it's like, wow, like I actually just kind of gave them something that they needed, and they would probably severely struggle financially if they didn't have it.
Right.
And that's what it kind of became for me. And I kind of actually got, you know, it actually made me a lot more passionate about it. Because like I remember that one guy I called you about, and I said I went back to his house. I knocked on the door again, and I said, hey, just talk to my upline. Like, I just want to see I just want to make sure I'm doing the absolute most for you. Because he was already 80. If something happens to him, his family is in a pickle.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of financials, I don't know if we should talk numbers on here.
No, do your thing. I don't care.
Okay. So like I wrote in October so far, I've written like, and I would like to do, I want to do 20 this month.
Okay.
And that would be like my first full month. And that would be great if I could do,
what do you have to do to make sure that happens?
just keep the activity up. I think what I've been doing a lot, if I don't have a ton of appointments in one day, I'll just line up my Excel sheet and I'll just like organize them A to Z on city, and I'll just do like all Anaheim, and I'll just resolve like every lead.
Right.
And so like I don't have a ton of leads right now, but every lead that I have, I'm just like exhausting it. Like I'm gonna make sure like if I have this lead, and I'm in the area, I'm probably gonna stop by, knock on the door, and say, hey, this is what this is what I have.
Right.
And resolve it. But all activity, I mean, like we've been saying, it's all numbers. You put in the time, people are going to pick up. And, you know, I was dialing leads from like 2 weeks ago, yesterday, and I just had someone who hadn't picked up in 2 weeks, and they answered, now they're booked for tomorrow. And that's really all it is. It's just finding people when at the right time, when they just pick up the phone, and a lot of people are open to it. Even if they don't remember what it is they filled out,
Right.
they know that they inquired about it, and they still haven't been covered.
Right.
So you could be working old leads, and they're like, oh, yeah, I still live there. Yeah. And it's just like they just let you in the door.
Dude, a lead ain't dead unless they're dead.
Yeah.
Period. Sure. You just never know, man. It's it being they tell you, F off, don't call me. Next day, you call them back. Be like, yeah, come on over. You're like, what happened? That's why you have to have a short-term memory. One thing, baseball, a lot of sports you got to have it, but baseball, you got to be quick. If you don't forget about that last strikeout, dude, you're hosed.
Yeah. You
got to just forget about it, dude. It's a new pitch, new at bat. So, dude, thank you for chopping it up with us today.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people to help.
Yeah.
On both ends. We say our clients need the help like crazy. And I think that was a big, probably eye-opening moment for you to realize, like, oh, dude, I'm not just helping like rich people stay rich.
Big time.
Right?
I'm not just selling something.
I'm not just selling something.
That's what I thought it was, but it's really like.
Me too. When I started, I was like, dude, I'm slanging insurance.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, financial services. Then I was like, oh no.
No, they need
it. Like
I'm
really helping these people in terrible times.
Yeah.
And they need somebody to be real with them.
Yeah.
You're working on not being friends with people.
Yeah.
Not being too nice.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I think that first week, 2 weeks was you getting through. Damn, dude, me being like nice and agreeing with them on everything isn't helping them.
Yeah, definitely.
And it felt like you were helping them, right? Like understanding, like,
yeah.
They didn't have the money, or I mean, whatever the case may be, you were empathizing with them, and at the beginning, it makes you feel like, oh, I'm helping them. Actually, I saved them from another bill.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I saved them. No, there's no way. Like, and now you start to think, dude, they ain't getting insurance. I ain't getting paid. Both those things ain't good. So how in the hell is me accepting what I was accepting before okay?
Yeah.
Is that kind of like the transition, like the difference in, where you were to where you see yourself going?
Yeah. So at the start, definitely, I remember specifically Dale that was the guy where I learned specifically that you're not their friend. And you can chop it up all you want after. Once you get them some insurance, you can talk to them for as long as you want. But to that point, what I also heard on a YouTube video from FFL is they'll tell their friends no. And I was like, dang, that's so true, because I've been befriending all these people, being so nice, trying to be on like their good side or whatever. Really, the important thing that I learned soon after that appointment with Dale was point out why they need it.
Yeah.
Why are they inquiring for insurance? And what is bad about their situation that they're not thinking about, that they need this? And that's what I got good at like this last week, I would say. Good. And that made my sales go up way more. Like,
hey, we're at the beginning of this. All right, you're gonna watch this and like 6 months ago, damn.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
dude, we've come a long way, dude. I'm pumped up for you. Thanks for hanging out, dude. Yeah, only the beginning, dude. Started from a DM. Now you're getting paid by Mutual of Omaha, America, all these different carriers, dude. Sometimes you just got to take a shot, all right? And don't respond to all your DMs that you get, because some of them are crazy and stuff like that. I get them all the time. They're like, Forex this, crypto that. I'm like, dude, I'd be an idiot to sign up for anything you're doing right now. But insurance been around hundreds of years.
Just try it.
We ain't going nowhere, dude.
Just try it.
Later, guys.